I train HSPs to become facilitators. Why? Because we're bloody good at it. Did you know HSPs make amazing facilitators? However, there is one thing that always lets us down, and that is trusting our natural ability as a facilitator. Hello. I train HSPs to become facilitators. Why? Because we're bloody good at it. However, it is not straightforward, unfortunately, in terms of recognizing the natural ability that we have to facilitate. And that is because that natural ability is something that we are typically harboring in a part of ourselves that we have chosen not to be in conscious awareness of. And why is that? The reason for that, unfortunately, again, is because we're trying to fit in much of the time. And in order to fit in, that usually doesn't include, unfortunately, yet again, becoming aware of or utilizing what I like to call our higher sensory abilities. So as an HSP, what's happening, what's making you an HSP is your neurodivergence. It means that you're wired differently. It means that you're able to process sensory information at a deeper level. And that's not nature playing a bad joke, causing overwhelm. You can't go to shopping malls and a jazz club and go out for dinner and then play cards all night, every night of the week, without burning out terribly for a further week. It doesn't mean that you have been given this ability to process more deeply for any reason apart from your capacity to understand the world around you and the people in it at a deeper level. And this is what makes you a natural facilitator. But the rub is that because we're not used to having these types of conversations and we're not used to linking the way that we experience and feel and see the world around us more deeply with an ability to facilitate it. So facilitation means to make things easier. And to give you an example of that, what we are really good at doing is observing and feeling into all of the natural facets and moving parts of whatever it is in front of us that we're facilitating. So let's say that it is a person that we're facilitating. We're very, very good at coaches, specialists, consultants. Pussycat, please be careful of the tripod. And the reason for that is because of this ability to hold a wide range of data points at the same time. So let me explain what I mean by that. Let me give you an example of that. And it will help you hopefully to understand and recognize this ability in you, which will allow me to encourage you to trust this ability that you have. So as an example, one of the most joyful parts of the work that I do is when another HSP sits in front of me and they present something to me that I can sense is holding them back from owning and valuing the truth of who they are. Now, this is a natural occurrence for us all, right? As human beings, we are all, to some extent, in the way of our own potential and purpose. So an HSP will sit in front of me and they will explain something, and I will immediately start to experience information that will come to me. And it sounds like a superpower, because it is a superpower. It's taken me time to trust this ability. However, when the person speaks something to me that I can tell is in their way, there is a particular frequency to that. In other words, there's a feeling around that. I can feel how the person is feeling as they speak those words. They're convinced that what they're saying is important and it's something that is a genuine part of who they are. But actually, within that is a very fertile place of connection with something that is behind that or underneath that, which is actually a truth of who they are. So there is something that is presented in disguise, if you like, and that the nature of that piece doesn't resonate with an expansive, tingly feeling of truth, which is how I know when something is real in someone and when something isn't real in someone. And you might think to yourself, yeah, well, that sounds feasible. I have trained 350 people, and it's actually slightly more than that now, over an 8-year period, and I haven't done anything else. And during that time, I have learned to trust this ability to be able to feel the difference between a block and the expansive feeling of truth in someone. So when this piece is in disguise, okay, so let's say when this is presented to us, or to me, if I continue with this example, what I know in my heart is that I am able to facilitate the shift in awareness around this piece that is going to reveal the true nature of this element of this person, that will allow them to understand how this is actually a part of what they're trying to figure out. So in other words, if, for instance, there is something that is in the way of a higher awareness, these data points will come to me as questions that I need to ask. It will also come to me as a knowing in my heart that there is something important here that needs to be challenged and needs to be explored. There will also be a focused container that will emerge around me and the person that enables them to begin to feel safe to explore this, and it also indicates the importance of this to me. The reason why I use the word fertile is because it's actually a piece of information that is disguised in a sense. It is a piece of information that needs to be unraveled in their own awareness. So I can't say to them, that's not right, it's actually this, because that is a bit like forcing a butterfly to be born. We can't interfere with that natural process. So the person's healing ability within them, their own awareness, will guide them through the experience of unpacking this piece that is stuck in order to help them to let go of a part of their identity that is no longer helpful for them, that is no longer aligned, in order for them to experience the frequency of the gold that was within this piece that helps them to understand the true nature of what it's trying to tell them. So my role as a facilitator is to sit there and notice and feel all of this, and also to trust that I know that their own awareness has the capacity to unpack this and to actually reveal the experience of the gold that's within them, and it will allow them to evolve and transcend this piece into a part of their natural purpose and potential that they can then utilize in the world. This is the natural ability that we have as HSPs. We intuitively know that there is something potent within what is being presented. We intuitively recognize that through trusting the questions that come to us, that form in our minds, by staying grounded, by staying focused on the person in front of us, by reading the micro expressions and following the breadcrumbs of what's naturally trying to unfold, we are facilitating, we are making it easier for that person's awareness to reveal that truth, to reveal that potency that's within them, in order for them to utilize that part of their character, that part of their own skill and ability for their use in the world. Now, that whole process that I've just described there, I would never have known that that ability exists within me. And I have now done that through thousands and thousands of hours of practice with HSPs, and it's never, ever let me down, ever. This is an invitation for you to recognize that that ability, the reason why you might think, yeah, but that just doesn't sound like I have that ability. You 100% have a version of this ability that's aligned with an area that matters most to you. But my invitation is to begin to trust those intuitive insights that you get. When you get that experience of a container, when you feel drawn to want to ask questions, when you have a sense there's something really important hidden in the words that the person is telling you, is to recognize that that ability to do all that is latent within you. In other words, it's sitting slightly out of your conscious awareness because you're not actively using it. A bit like a muscle that isn't exercised regularly. The muscle's still there, but it's not in its flourishing purpose. In order for your facilitating ability to be in its flourishing purpose is for you to trust it. And the only way you're going to trust it is by building relationship with it. And the only way you're going to build relationship with it is by practicing. And you can do this within your own current life experience. But it's an invitation to notice when you get that ping of interest in someone, you think, oh, there's something there and that really interests me. I'd love to ask you questions around that. Now, sometimes that's not appropriate when you're buying a loaf of bread. And sometimes it's not appropriate to do that with loved ones because we're very emotionally invested. But it is an invitation to expand the circumstances for yourself and get interested when you get that ping. Think, oh, I really want to talk about that. There's something I'd love to explore. We have to allow ourselves the opportunity to find that ball of potency that's within someone that we really want to help them unpack, and to recognize that we are facilitating that natural unpacking in that person. We can't do the unpacking ourselves. They have to do that. We all have a natural healing capacity through the focus of our own awareness. So as a facilitator, we are inviting that person to focus their awareness in particular areas, and you will be guided as to which of those areas is the right way and which of those areas are the wrong way. And you can feel which way is which. And that will allow you to begin to build relationship, to begin to trust this ability, and to step into the world as the natural facilitator that you were born to be. I assure you, the gift is there. I hope this has been helpful. And as ever, if you're listening to these videos and you're listening to me talking about this facilitating ability, and you're starting to get more and more of a sense that it is a path for you that you really want to follow, then you are most welcome to book a discovery call. I can support you to explore how this ability may be a very, very important next step for you, how you can transition into the business of being a facilitator in the area of expertise that you're naturally born to serve in. If that sounds interesting, the link is below in the description. Book a call, let's talk. I would love to make you aware of this amazing ability that you have as an HSP. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.